There is a persistent and deeply seductive illusion embedded in the way most people think about interstellar travel. It is the illusion that the primary obstacle is mechanical, that the fundamental challenge facing any civilization attempting to cross the vast dark void between star systems is simply a matter of building a sufficiently durable ship, packing enough fuel, and keeping the biological crew alive long enough to reach the destination. This intuition feels reasonable. It feels grounded. It feels like the kind of problem that advanced engineering might someday solve. But it is wrong. Not slightly wrong, not approximately wrong. It is wrong in the most profound and unforgiving sense that physics allows. The true barrier to interstellar travel is not mechanical at all. It is mathematical. It is geometric. It is written permanently and without negotiation into the foundational fabric of space-time itself. Consider a precise analogy that illuminates the horror of this situation. Imagine writing an urgently critical message and attempting to deliver it by boarding a miraculously functional high-speed magnetic train. The train itself operates with absolute perfection. Every component performs flawlessly, but the foundational mathematical rules of this particular railway dictate something terrifying. For every single hour you spend riding inside that train, an entire century passes violently and aggressively in the outside world. You arrive at your destination in a matter of localized days. Your message is perfectly intact. Your body is healthy. Your mind is sharp. But as you step off the train and look around, you realize the recipient has been dead for thousands of years. Their city has crumbled into disorganized dust. Their language has vanished. Their civilization has dissolved entirely into the deep geological record of the planet. The message you carried so carefully is now mathematically and permanently meaningless. Not because the train failed, but because the foundational rules of the railway itself made meaningful delivery a geometric impossibility from the very beginning. That is the physical reality of deep space travel at relativistic speeds. That is the paradox that does not merely damage alien spacecraft. It renders their entire purpose mathematically extinct before they ever arrive. To understand why the universe constructs this brutal trap, we must begin with the elegant and foundational geometry of space-time. Human biology is exquisitely calibrated to perceive time as a universal constant. We feel time ticking away at the same steady rate for every object, every person, every civilization across the cosmos simultaneously. This intuition is deeply wired into our biological architecture. It feels self-evident, but it is a profound illusion. Einstein demonstrated with extraordinary mathematical precision that space and time are not two separate and independent stages upon which the universe performs. They are a single unified geometric fabric, a four-dimensional continuum in which every object moves through a combined interval of space and time simultaneously. And here is where the terror begins to reveal itself with full mathematical clarity. Every object in the universe moves through space-time at precisely the same total geometric rate, the speed of light. This is not a metaphor. This is a foundational quantitative truth about the structure of reality itself. When you are sitting perfectly still in physical space, your entire geometric motion through space-time is directed through the time dimension. You are aging at maximum biological rate. The universe clock is running at full speed for you. But the moment you begin moving through physical space, something profound and irreversible happens. Your total space-time motion remains fixed at the speed of light. So every unit of velocity you direct through space must be borrowed directly from your motion through time. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. This is not an approximation. This is not a rough description. It is the precise geometric consequence of the structure of Minkowski space-time. Now, apply this to a massive alien spacecraft attempting to cross the void between star systems. The nearest star system to our own sits approximately 4 light-years away, 4 years of travel time for something moving at the speed of light. But no physical object with mass can reach the speed of light. The mathematics of special relativity dictate that as a massive object accelerates toward that absolute cosmic speed limit, the energy required to continue accelerating does not grow linearly, it grows without bound. To push a ship of meaningful mass to the speed of light would require infinite energy, so the spacecraft must travel at some large fraction of that limit, perhaps 90%, perhaps 99%. And at those massive fractions of light speed, time dilation becomes genuinely catastrophic. At 99% of the speed of light, the time dilation factor is approximately 7. For every single year experienced by the biological crew inside the ship, 7 years pass in the wider universe. At 99.9% of light speed, that factor jumps to over 22. At 99.99%, it surpasses 200. The crew saves themselves by compressing their localized biological time. But in doing so, they mathematically guarantee that the universe aggressively advances without them at a multiplied rate. They are purchasing survivable journey time by spending universal time at an accelerated and devastating exchange rate. And now consider what this means for a civilization attempting to cross truly interstellar distances. Not 4 light years, not 40, but the hundreds and thousands of light years that separate most star systems in any meaningful galactic survey. Even traveling at the most extreme relativistic speeds that physics permits short of the absolute limit, the time elapsed in the broader universe during the crossing is not years, it is not decades, it is centuries, millennia. The biological crew might experience a journey of several localized years, but the universe they left behind has aged by thousands of years in their absence. The home world that launched them has had entire civilizations rise and collapse while their ship moves silently through the void. The mission parameters that made the journey purposeful have been rendered completely obsolete by the unforgiving geometric arithmetic of relativistic time. But temporal severing is only one layer of this mathematical catastrophe. There is a second horror layered beneath it that compounds the destruction with brutal physical force. It involves the behavior of space-time itself in response to heavy mass moving at extreme velocities. When a massive object accelerates through space, it does not simply move passively through a static background. It actively distorts the geometric fabric of space-time around it. This is the foundational insight of general relativity. Mass curves geometry, and when that mass is moving at relativistic speeds, the curvature it induces does not sit still. It propagates outward through space-time as gravitational waves, ripples in the fabric of the cosmos itself. A spacecraft of meaningful mass accelerating to relativistic speeds would generate gravitational wave emissions of significant magnitude. The ship would not glide silently through the void. It would churn the fabric of space-time aggressively behind it, generating a geometric wake of rippling curvature. And that wake would not simply dissipate harmlessly. The intense localized distortion of space-time geometry immediately surrounding the vessel would subject the ship's structure to tidal forces, differential gravitational accelerations acting across the physical extent of the craft. At sufficiently extreme velocities and masses, these tidal forces would not be negligible engineering inconveniences. They would be structurally catastrophic. The mathematics of general relativity do not grant exceptions for clever engineering. The geometric distortion is a fundamental consequence of mass moving through curved spacetime at relativistic speeds. You cannot insulate a spacecraft against the mathematics of the fabric it is moving through. So, the picture that emerges from honest and rigorous physics is this. Any civilization attempting to send biological representatives across meaningful interstellar distances faces a layered geometric elimination. The first layer is temporal severing. The speed required to make the biological journey survivable mathematically guarantees that the broader universe advances by centuries or millennia during the crossing. The crew arrives to find that the civilization they intended to visit has either fundamentally transformed beyond recognition, destroyed itself, or simply ceased to exist as any meaningful entity thousands of years before the ship decelerates into the target solar system. The second layer is structural. The gravitational wake generated by extreme relativistic mass imposes tidal forces on the vessel that compound the already catastrophic energy requirements of the journey with additional mechanical destruction. The crew, if they survive the gravitational turbulence, arrive as what we might precisely describe as temporal ghosts. They are physical entities who have successfully crossed the geometric void. But the temporal context that gave their journey meaning has been completely destroyed by the mathematics of the crossing itself. They left a home world. That home world no longer exists in any form they would recognize. They intended to visit a specific civilization. That civilization has either evolved into something incomprehensible or vanished entirely. They are alive, they are coherent, they are precisely where the navigation system promised to deliver them, and they are completely and permanently severed from every single purpose that motivated the journey in the first place. This is not a problem that superior engineering resolves. This is not an obstacle that more advanced materials overcome. The temporal severing is not a malfunction of the spacecraft. It is a direct and inescapable consequence of the geometry of spacetime operating precisely as it must. The gravitational wake is not a design flaw. It is the foundational response of the curved spacetime fabric to localized mass at relativistic velocities. The mathematics does not care about the sophistication of the civilization that built the ship. It does not negotiate with biological urgency or technological ambition. It simply executes the geometric consequences that the structure of the universe mandates. What this means at the deepest level is that the cosmos enforces its own vast physical scale, not through mechanical obstacles, but through mathematical ones. The universe does not need to destroy the ship with asteroid collisions or radiation fields or fuel exhaustion. It simply allows the ship to travel perfectly. It permits the crew to survive completely. It delivers them to the precise coordinates they targeted. And then it confronts them with the full temporal arithmetic of the crossing, the realization that the universal clock never paused for them. That every year they compressed into localized survival time was a year the broader universe spent moving irreversibly forward without them. We are not protected from alien arrival by the difficulty of spaceship construction. We are protected by something far more fundamental and far more absolute. We are protected by the geometric structure of space-time itself, by the same mathematics that makes the universe coherent and consistent and physically real. The speed necessary to cross the void is precisely the speed that severs any meaningful connection to the temporal context of the destination. Nature has written interstellar isolation into the foundational architecture of reality, not as an accident, not as a temporary engineering challenge.